Credit cards are one of the most useful financial tools ever invented. They are also among the most dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, credit cards are fucking evil. Yeah, credit cards are evil incarnate, and yet at the same time, they are so useful. Because for all intents and purposes, you have to understand what a credit card is. A credit card is insurance against anything bad that happens to you financially. Let me explain. See, credit cards are incredibly useful because suppose, for the sake of argument, that you have a job and you have a car and you need the car to get to your job and your car breaks down, but you don't have any money in the bank to pay for the repairs. Let's just say that, the engine gets blown, whatever. It costs a couple of $1,000s to fix it, just for the sake of argument, right? You don't have $2,000 on hand, right? But you have that magic card, the credit card, yeah. The credit card, zip, zip, and it gets paid. It's like fucking magic. It's an insurance policy. Yeah, it's an insurance policy against any unexpected expense. Any unexpected expense that will hurt you. If your car breaks down and you need it to get to your job, they're not going to understand that your car broke down. But with that credit card, you can fix the car and you're back to going to your job every day, no problem. I mean, you can even rent a car during the period of time that they're repairing your car in order to get to work every day with the credit card. That's incredibly valuable. It's bringing future earnings to the present. That's what it's doing. But the problem, of course, is when you start using a credit card for things that are non-essential. When you start using it to bring to the present things, luxuries that in the future you might be able to get, because in the future you might earn enough money to buy these things. But right now you don't have the money. Yeah, for that expensive vacation to Tahiti, you do not have the cash. So what do? You use the credit card. And that's when you get fucked. Because what happens, of course, is that it's so easy to use the credit card. There's no transaction, there's no money changing hands, right? It's just you take the little piece of plastic, you stick it in the slot or zip it through the slot or however it works, right? Or maybe sometimes you just touch it against a little pad and done, like magic, right? And so, like magic, you can buy things that you cannot afford today. The expensive trip to Tahiti, the expensive car that you really can't afford, going out to dinner with that girlfriend who's gonna, be only a 2-date outing and you'll never see her again. You spend all of this money on things that you do not need and you don't even notice it because the transaction is so easy. It's designed to be easy, of course. Why? Because the more you use your credit card, the more interest you pay and the more fees you accrue. Because credit cards are a money-making machine for banks. And this ought to be fucking obvious, but for some reason, some people don't seem to quite understand this. See, people are making money every time you use a credit card. You have the interest payment on your outstanding balance, and you also have credit card fees. Every time you use the credit card, somebody is making money off of you. And so when you buy that expensive vacation that you can't really afford today, maybe next year you could have afforded it with like a higher salary and a raise that you were going to get and all the rest of it. But right now you really can't afford it. And yet you buy that expensive vacation to Tahiti, and what happens? You have to pay interest. Every month you have to make the minimum balance and the interest, and that interest grows and grows and grows. I mean, some of the interest payments are like in the double-digit, triple-digit sometimes, and that's how bad it can get. Sometimes you wind up paying double for the thing that you bought. How smart was that? But I bet you don't even notice. Of course you didn't notice, because it's designed for you not to notice. And so you zip your card. You zip your card for things you don't need, and every month you're desperate trying to cover your credit card bill. And what do? You pay the minimum balance. Oh God. No. This is how you handle the credit card. See, it's very simple. Every month you pay it off in full. every month, no exception. And when you use the credit card, you always make sure that it's essential. You always make sure that you're spending it on something that you must have in order to survive. Not on a luxury, not on something that is not really necessary. No, no, no. You make sure that you spend the card, or use the card rather, on things that if you do not have them, you're dead. Like fixing your car because you need the car to get to work and you don't have the money to pay for it. That's an emergency. Or like, for instance, a medical procedure because, something happened and you need it right the fuck now. Yeah, that's when you use the credit card. And you don't even use the credit card for your daily expenses. A lot of people do it. A lot of people use their credit card for the daily expenses that they have. Lunch, gasoline, shit like that. Don't do that. Use a debit card. Because see, a debit card will usually not charge you a fee when you're using it for gasoline or daily food or what have you. Whereas a credit card will. So, smarten up here. But bottom line, the most important thing is that you have to understand what a credit card is. It gives you access to money that you do not have, okay? And it's easy for you to fall into the trap of buying a lot of shit that you don't need because the credit card gives you the illusion that you have the money, but you don't. You don't. It's somebody else's money, and they're going to charge you a fee for it. And that fee is called interest and processing fees and all the rest of the shit. Don't use the credit card. Now, of course, I'm telling you this shit, but what's going to happen to you is what actually happened to me. I remember very clearly when I was about 25 years old, I got into a little credit card trouble. Yeah, and I overspent. And I was desperate for a few weeks. How the fuck was I going to pay off the credit card? I didn't have the money, and ultimately I had to ask my college roommate to lend me like $400, right? Because I didn't have it, and I needed it, and it was the only way to pay off the credit card, that goddamn credit card, right? And thankfully my roommate was a very decent fellow, and he had the money, and he lent it to me, and that was that. And over the next 2-3 months, I was able to pay him back as quickly as I could. And that was that. Lesson learned. Never go into credit card debt unless it's essential. But of course, you're going to have to need at least one crisis in order to learn this lesson.